Welcome to Daily English Talks. Have you ever picked up an English book and thought to yourself, I wish I could read this, but I don't understand a thing? If that's you, trust me, you're not alone. Many learners dream of reading in English. Books, short stories, even simple texts. But when they try, it feels like stepping into a fog. Reading English shouldn't feel like a puzzle. It should feel like a peaceful journey. Let's walk that path together, step by step. The book that started it all. I still remember the first English book I ever held. It was small in size, had bright, colorful images on the front. I didn't even recognize the title. All I knew, it was written in English. When I opened it, lines of text stared back at me. Words formed sentences. But none of it made sense. I read the first sentence over and over. My eyes were reading. But my brain was blank. I felt completely lost, confused, like I didn't belong. I wondered, will I ever understand this? A part of me whispered no. But a tiny voice inside said, try again tomorrow. So the next day, I opened the book once more. I didn't rush. I just looked at the pictures. I tried to guess what was happening. I pointed at each word with my finger. Read them out loud. Slowly. I made mistakes. A lot of them. But I kept going. I focused on just one sentence, and I tried to understand that one line. I read it again, and again. And suddenly, it clicked. Just a single line, but it made sense. I smiled. I felt proud. It was a small win, but it meant everything. Excited, I showed the book to my teacher. I told her I wanted to read it. She smiled and said, that's wonderful. Read slowly, speak it out loud. Mistakes are okay. Her encouragement made me feel safe. Like maybe, just maybe, I could really do this. From that day on, I read a little every day, sometimes just a few lines, sometimes a full page. I didn't hurry. I followed each word with my finger, spoke them softly to myself. Some words were easy, others felt impossible, but I didn't stop. That book became my companion. When I felt down, it was there. When I needed hope, it offered a word, a phrase, a lesson. I still remember one line from it clearly. The sun is up. I read it, then looked out the window. There it was, the sun. And I repeated, the sun is up. That moment made me smile. The sentence came to life. For the first time, English didn't feel like a stranger. It felt real, familiar. The book wasn't long, just a few pages. But those pages changed something deep inside me. They showed me that I could read English. Not fast, not without mistakes. But I could read. Sometimes I forgot what I read. Sometimes I felt tired or bored. But then I'd remember that first sentence. That proud, joyful moment of, I did it. And I'd open the book again. Each time, it got a little easier. The words weren't just letters anymore. They became feelings, pictures, meaning. Reading English slowly became something I loved. It felt like I was finally building a bridge to the language, to the stories, to the world. Even now. I remember that simple little book. It wasn't perfect. And I definitely wasn't perfect. But together, we began something beautiful. That was the beginning of my English reading journey. One small book, one big dream. And you? You can start the same way. Just one word, one line, one page at a time. Begin with the basics. I didn't jump into thick novels. I didn't touch a dictionary. I didn't chase difficult vocabulary. I began with the easiest things I could find. Books meant for children. They had large text, bright pictures, simple phrases. Each page felt light. Each sentence felt friendly. Nothing about them made me nervous. They made me feel comfortable, safe. That's how my journey began. I remember one book clearly. It had a cat on the front. The first sentence said, "This is a cat." I stared at the picture, then at the word, "scat." I sounded it out slowly. C-A-T. I grinned. I knew what it was. I could connect the picture to the word. That connection felt like a little victory. I turned the page. It read, "The cat is on the mat." Mat. I didn't know that word. But I saw the image. A rug, a mat. I guessed the meaning. And I was right. No dictionary needed. Just my eyes and my brain. I trusted myself. I read that book again and again. Not once. Not twice. Many, many times. Some people might call that boring. To me, it was magical. Each time I read the same line, it became clearer. I read it faster, made fewer mistakes, felt stronger, more sure of myself. Repetition was my secret weapon. It helped the words stick. It gave me confidence. I wasn't reading to finish. I was reading to understand. At night, I read before I slept. In the morning, I read before school. I always had a small book with me. In my bag. In my hands. I read whenever I could. I didn't wait for the right time. I didn't need a teacher. I became my own guide. Reading turned into a habit. Of course, there were days I didn't feel like it. I felt sleepy, distracted, lazy. I wanted to play instead. But then I remembered my goal. I wanted to read English stories. I wanted to understand signs, menus, messages. I wanted to be like others who could read with ease. That dream kept me moving forward. Even when I stumbled, even when I was slow. Still, I kept reading. I kept trying. And one day, something amazing happened. I read a whole page, from start to finish, without stopping, without help. I didn't know every single word, but I understood the meaning. I felt proud. I smiled. I laughed. I even clapped for myself. I wanted to tell the world, "Look, I can read." That was a huge moment for me. Reading didn't suddenly become fast, but it felt easier. The words looked familiar. The lines made sense. My eyes could follow. My voice could speak. My mind could understand. And all of it happened because I started small, because I took that first little step. Now, I always say this to beginners. Don't begin with difficult books. Don't try to know everything at once. Don't rush the process. Pick easy books. Read them again and again. Get to know the words like friends. Make reading something you do daily. Read with joy, not pressure. And one day, you'll read something and you'll just get it. And you'll smile because you'll be proud. Reading isn't about speed. It's about the journey. And each small step brings you closer to the dream you hold. Read aloud and use your finger. When I first began reading, my eyes raced across the page, but my brain couldn't keep up. I looked at the words, but the meaning didn't come. My eyes kept jumping from line to line. I lost track. I got tired quickly. Nothing stayed in my head. And honestly, I felt lost and frustrated. Then one day, my teacher shared a simple idea. She said, "Use your finger when you read and read out loud." At first, it confused me. I thought reading only involved your eyes. But she explained, reading is for your whole body. Eyes, voice, ears, finger, everything works together. And that changed how I read. The next day, I gave it a try. I grabbed a small book, opened the first page, and placed my finger on the first word. Slowly, I said it out loud. This. Then I moved to the next. Is. Next word. And finally, dog. I smiled. It felt slow, but it was clear. I could hear the words. I could follow the line. I wasn't confused anymore. I was in control. Reading with my finger helped me stay focused. I didn't lose my place. I didn't miss words. It was like a guide, showing my eyes where to go next. It helped me stay calm and steady. That finger became my reading buddy. Speaking the words out loud made a big difference, too. When I said them, I could hear them, feel them. The sound stuck with me. It helped me remember. Reading wasn't just reading anymore. It became practice. Practice for my English, practice for my voice. In the beginning, I was shy to speak out loud. So I started in my room, door closed, sitting quietly on the bed. At first, I whispered. Then, little by little, my voice got stronger, and my confidence grew. One day, I read something out loud to a friend. He smiled and said, "You sound great." That one sentence gave me a big boost. Now I always read using my voice and my finger. And this isn't just for kids. It's for anyone learning to read better. It helps your brain absorb faster, keeps your focus sharp, and improves your speech. It's a simple technique, but it works like magic. You don't need fancy tools. Just a book, your finger, and your voice. That's it. Sometimes I even underline the words I don't know with a pencil. Then I check their meaning later. Other times I pick a sentence and repeat it 3 times, trying to say it smoother, faster, each time. That helped my speaking too. Reading like this is more than just reading. It's a full workout. It builds understanding. It builds fluency. It brings everything together. And when you do it every day, something amazing happens. You begin to remember the words. You begin to understand quicker. You start reading more smoothly, without even trying. Your eyes follow the finger. Your voice speaks clearly. Your brain understands. All in sync. I want you to try this today. Pick a short passage, read it with your finger, speak each word out loud. Take your time. Forget about mistakes. Just feel the rhythm of the words. Let them sink in. Let them become yours. Do this for just 5 minutes each day, and you'll notice a difference. That small habit changed my reading life. It made me more confident, a better reader, a better speaker, a stronger learner. If it helped me, it can help you too. Reading with your voice and finger isn't just a trick, it's a gift. And you deserve to give that gift to yourself. Familiar words, and the ones that feel like strangers. Back when I used to read in English, every unfamiliar word made me stop. I'd freeze for a moment, unsure of what to do. The flow was gone. My confidence slipped. I'd reach for a dictionary, try to look it up, but that only made reading feel like a grind, slow and tiring. The storyline faded into the background. The joy disappeared. Reading wasn't fun anymore. It felt like work. At some point, I started wondering, maybe I was approaching it the wrong way. And then, I stumbled across something that changed everything. You don't have to understand every single word to get the meaning. I remember reading a story about a girl and her dog. There was a word I didn't know, leash. I had never seen it before. But then I noticed the picture. The girl was holding something that connected to the dog. That's when it clicked. Leash must be the thing that links them together. No dictionary needed. Just the image, the clues, the moment. I figured it out on my own, and something inside me shifted. That day, I discovered a better way to read. Now, when I hit a new or strange word, I try to guess what it means. I read the sentence carefully. I glance at the words before and after. Then I pause and ask myself, could it mean this? Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm close. Sometimes I'm way off. But each time I learn something. I stopped fearing difficult words. I let go of the idea that I had to understand everything. I started believing in myself. Because if I understand most of it, I can figure out the rest. And if I don't, that's okay too. I can still follow the story, still enjoy the ride. So I made myself a rule. If I can grasp about 70% of what I'm reading, I keep going. If it feels like less than that, I switch to something easier. That way, I don't lose confidence. That way, reading still feels good. Because when reading is fun, you want to keep doing it. And the more you read, the better you get. Another habit I picked up, I started jotting down just a couple of new words from each page. Not every tricky word, just one or two that stood out. I'd write down the full sentence. Then I'd guess the meaning. Later, I'd check if I got it right. That tiny habit, it made words stick. Little by little, I got better. Even now, when there are no pictures to help, I still try to guess. I ask myself, what's really going on here? I read the full paragraph. I look for clues hiding in the text. And more often than not, I figure it out. No dictionary, no help. English is like a puzzle. You don't need every piece to see the big picture. You just need enough to get the idea. The rest will come with time and practice. I stopped chasing perfection and started enjoying the process. I learned to trust my own thinking. Turns out my brain is smarter than I thought. If tough words make you nervous, I get it. I felt the same way. But don't let one confusing word ruin your flow. Don't let one hard sentence throw you off track. Keep reading. And make a guess. Stay connected to the story. Let your brain do the work. You'll be surprised by what it can do. I used to believe I had to understand every word, but I know better now. Reading isn't about getting every word right. It's about feeling the meaning, even when not everything is clear. So next time you read something, try this approach. Don't stop at every strange word. Use the sentence. Use the clues. Take a guess and move forward. It might just change how you read. It might make reading fun again. You already understand more than you think. And you're learning more than you know. Easy stories, true companions. I remember the day clearly. I was browsing through a quiet corner of the library when a tiny book caught my eye. Its title was short, just 3 simple words. The cover? A picture of a boy flying a kite under the sky. I opened it out of curiosity. The first line read, "Tom has a kite." I grinned without thinking. I could read that. I understood that. I turned the page. He runs in the park. In my head, I could see him, running, smiling, holding that kite. It wasn't just reading anymore. I felt like I was right there, inside the story. That's when I made a new friend. Not a person, but a story. That tiny book became special to me. I read it over and over again. I already knew what would happen, but it didn't matter. It brought me comfort. I didn't feel confused. I didn't feel like I was failing. With that story, I felt calm, strong, understood. It helped me believe in myself. The sentences were easy. The pages were few. But the feeling? It was huge. Confidence, happiness, clarity. That's when I began searching for more. More stories that spoke my language. Simple language. Simple grammar. Books made for learners like me. I discovered something called graded readers. Books written specially for English learners. They had levels: beginner, elementary, pre-intermediate. I picked the easiest one. It fit me just right. Each book I opened felt like meeting a new friend. Some made me laugh. Others made me think. There were stories about animals, classrooms, adventures. I loved them all because I could read them. And not just read. I could feel, imagine, live them. Even when I didn't catch every word. I didn't panic. I trusted the process. I kept going. I guessed, and most times I was right. Every time I finished one, I felt proud. I'd run to my family and say, "I read another book today." They smiled. Sometimes they even clapped. It made me want to read even more. Some books came with audio. I'd listen while I read. It helped me hear the rhythm, the sounds, the tone. I mimicked the voice. I practiced. It became fun, like a game. Listening and reading together made the story stay in my heart. The emotions, the voices, the scenes, they all lingered. I also began collecting my favorites. I kept a small notebook, one list for the stories I loved, one for the new words I noticed again and again. I didn't try to memorize everything, only the words that kept coming back. I wrote them down, used them in small sentences, added them to my journal. That helped them stick with me. There's one story I'll never forget. It was about a boy with a dream to become a singer. People laughed at him. They said he couldn't do it. But he didn't give up. He kept practicing. And in the end, he sang in front of a crowd. That story touched something deep inside me because I understood him. People had doubted me too. They thought I couldn't learn English. But I was trying. I was reading. I was growing. That story gave me something powerful. Hope. Easy stories aren't just for those starting out. They're for anyone who wants to learn from the heart. They don't just teach words and grammar. They teach courage. They remind you to believe in yourself. If you want to get better at reading, find a story that makes you smile. Don't worry about the length. Don't worry about difficulty. If you like it, you'll come back to it. And every time you do, you'll learn something new. Reading isn't a race. It's a journey. And on that journey, stories are your most loyal friends. Just a little reading every single day. I used to believe that learning English meant spending long hours buried in books. I thought more time would bring faster progress. So I tried to read a lot, thinking that was the key. But it turns out I was wrong. What actually helped me the most wasn't reading for hours. It was reading consistently, every day, even just for a few minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That small effort made a huge difference. In the beginning, I didn't follow any routine. I'd read whenever I felt like it. Some days I did, some days I didn't. And because of that, I didn't grow much. Words slipped away from my memory. My rhythm would break. I felt disconnected from the language. Then one day, I made a promise to myself. Read every day, even just a little. Don't skip. So I began with 5 minutes a day. No stress, no pressure. I chose one book. Same book every day. And I picked a regular time, right before breakfast. I turned it into a habit. Wake up, brush teeth, read a page. Even on Sundays, even when I didn't feel like it. I kept going. I didn't let the chain break. After just a week, something shifted. Reading didn't feel as hard. It became more natural. And I even started to enjoy it. 2 weeks in, I noticed I was reading faster. My eyes glided over the words. My voice felt more confident when I read out loud. I could take in more, understand more. After a month, it didn't feel like a task anymore. Reading had become part of me, like brushing my teeth, like eating meals. It felt normal, automatic. Some days I read for 10 minutes, other days just a paragraph, sometimes a page, sometimes only a line. But the amount didn't matter. What mattered was that I showed up. Just like watering a plant. A little water each day keeps it growing. A little reading each day grows your English. I kept my book nearby, on the table, in my bag, next to my bed. I removed the excuses. I didn't wait for the right mood. I built a routine instead. And that routine gave me strength. There were tough days. Days I was tired, or sad, or just unmotivated. but I still read, even if it was just one sentence. I reminded myself, just open the book. Just begin. And every time I did, it lifted my mood. That one small step gave me peace and energy. Learning English doesn't happen all at once. It's not about big, dramatic moments. It's about quiet effort, done day by day, with patience and with love. That's how I improved. One sentence at a time. One day at a time. A time. Now, when I look back, I feel proud. Those tiny moments, those 5-minute readings, they added up to something powerful. I can read much more now. I understand better because I didn't stop. I didn't wait for a perfect moment. I made reading a part of my life. And you can too. Don't wait for free time. Don't wait for the weekend. Make the time. Even 5 minutes will do. Pick a book you enjoy. Keep it close. Read it every day. And little by little, you'll see the change. Small drops of effort become a flowing river. Your reading will begin to flow. Your confidence will rise. And one day, you'll smile and say, I can read English now. Just like I did. It began on an ordinary day. I was watching an English cartoon I already knew and loved. The characters were familiar. Their voices slow and easy to follow. This time, I did something different. I turned on the subtitles. As I watched, I found myself reading along with the lines, just casually. Then something strange happened. I started speaking the lines, right along with the characters, without even realizing it. One of them said, "Let's go to the park." I read it, I heard it, and I said it out loud. Let's go to the park. My voice moved with theirs. Same rhythm, same tone. It was like I wasn't just watching, I was becoming part of the cartoon. Later, I learned this technique had a name, shadow reading. The idea is simple. You listen to a voice and speak at the same time, like an echo, like a shadow. That one moment changed how I practiced English. Completely. From then on, it became a daily routine. Short clips, a minute, maybe 2. Subtitles on, headphones in. I'd listen, read, repeat, mimic the voice, match the pace, copy the feeling behind the words. It didn't feel like study. It felt like acting, like performing in another language. Of course, I made mistakes in the beginning. I stumbled, mumbled. Sometimes I laughed at how awkward I sounded. But I kept going. Again, and again, and again. Little by little, my mouth adjusted. My eyes moved faster across the text. My ears tuned into the sound of real English. Soon, things clicked. After a week, I could speak without stopping so much. 2 weeks in, my reading got smoother. By a month, I started sounding more natural. But more than anything, I started feeling confident, not just reading the words, but actually speaking them. Because shadow reading works on everything at once. You listen, you speak, you read, and you grow. It's like a workout. But for your English skills, I even tried it with audiobooks. Simple stories at first. I'd play a line, pause it, say it out loud, then replay it and try to match the voice exactly. It taught me how English flows, how sentences rise and fall, how to pronounce words the right way. It also gave me something I didn't expect: courage. I stopped waiting to be perfect. I just started speaking naturally. No more being outside the language. I was inside it, breathing it, living it. And you can do the same. Pick something fun, maybe a cartoon you like, or a short YouTube story. Turn on the subtitles. Read along with the voice, then say the words. at the same time. Be the shadow. At first, it might feel weird, maybe even frustrating, but soon it becomes rhythm, like your mouth is dancing with every sentence. And your voice, it gets stronger, more confident. Shadow reading is simple, it's exciting, and best of all, it actually works. No classroom needed, no teacher required. Just you, your screen, your ears, and your voice. Give it 5 minutes a day. Just 5. You'll notice the change. I still do it myself because it keeps my skills sharp, keeps my speech alive, makes English feel like talking to a friend. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. Be the shadow. Speak with confidence. Read with feeling. And let English become part of who you are. It all began one ordinary day. I was watching an English cartoon I'd already seen before. I liked the characters, the story, the way they spoke. Their voices were slow, clear, and easy to follow. That's when I decided to turn on the subtitles. As the episode played, I found myself reading along with the dialogue. And then, something surprising happened. Without thinking, I began speaking with the characters. A line came up. Let's go to the park. I read it, heard it, and suddenly, I said it out loud. Let's go to the park. My voice echoed theirs, matching each word, each tone, exactly. It felt like I had become part of the cartoon. That moment was my first step into what I later learned was called shadow reading. The idea is simple. You speak at the same time as the speaker, like a shadow, following every move. Your voice becomes their voice, and that changed everything about how I learned to read English. From that day forward, I made it a daily habit. I picked short videos, just 1 or 2 minutes long, subtitles on. I listened, read, repeated. I copied the voice, matched their speed, tried to feel the emotion in every line. It didn't feel like study. It felt like I was performing in English. At first, I made a lot of mistakes. I stumbled over words, skipped lines by accident. Sometimes, I even laughed at how strange I sounded. But I kept going. Day after day. My tongue got used to the sounds. My eyes followed the words faster. My ears started catching the rhythm of the language. Everything started to come together. After just 1 week, I could speak faster. 2 weeks in, my reading became clearer. By the end of the month, I sounded more natural. And even more importantly, I felt confident, not just reading English, but speaking it. Because shadow reading makes you do everything at once. You listen, you read, you speak, you learn. It's like a full body workout for your English skills. Sometimes I used audiobooks too. I chose simple stories. Listened to one line, paused it, said it out loud, then played it again, and tried to match the speaker's voice. It taught me pronunciation, helped me feel the rhythm of English, the rise and fall of sentences. Shadow reading gave me something even more valuable: courage. I stopped waiting for perfect grammar. I just started speaking naturally. I was no longer outside the language. I was inside it, living it. And you can do the same. Start with something you enjoy, a cartoon or a short YouTube video. Turn on the subtitles. Read along with the dialogue. Then, speak with the voice on screen. Be their shadow. At first, it might feel awkward, even tricky. But very soon, it will start to feel like music. Like your mouth is dancing with the language. And your voice, it will grow stronger. Shadow reading is simple, it's enjoyable, and most importantly, It works. No classroom needed. No teacher required. Just your screen, your eyes, your ears, and your voice. Give it 5 minutes a day, just 5, and you'll notice the change. I still do it now because it sharpens my reading, keeps my speaking alive, and makes English feel like a conversation with a close friend. So don't wait. Become the shadow. Speak with your voice. Read with your heart. And let English become a part of you. Writing. After reading one afternoon, I turned the last page of a story, closed the book gently, and smiled. I understood what I had just read. And more than that, I truly enjoyed it. But then a quiet question came to me. What stayed with me from this story? I sat there thinking in silence. I didn't want the story to fade away. I didn't want the new words to slip from my memory. So I reached for a notebook and wrote down a simple line. Tom runs with his kite. That sentence may have been short, even basic, but it was the beginning of something big. That was my first moment writing after reading, and it changed how I connected with stories. When I read, I absorb information, but when I write, I keep it alive. The ideas stick. The words stay clear. My mind sharpens, and my thoughts grow stronger. It became a small routine. After finishing any book or story, I'd jot something down. A quick sentence, a tiny summary, a new word I liked, even just how the story made me feel. Sometimes I'd write, "This story was fun." Other times, "I liked the ending because it surprised me." When I found new vocabulary, I tried using it in my own way. Kite. My little brother plays with a blue kite. It felt good. It felt like progress. Those simple lines gave me confidence. I wasn't only reading anymore. I was thinking, responding, creating. I was using the language, not just learning it. And that made me feel proud of myself. Page by page, my notebook filled up with my voice, my ideas, my English. Sure, I made mistakes, spelling errors, grammar slips, but I never stopped because I knew every mistake meant growth. Looking back at my earlier notes after a month, I could see the difference. My writing had more clarity, more depth, and I felt proud of how far I'd come. Reading and writing became a team, a perfect pair. Together, they helped me learn quicker, understand better, and speak with more ease. When I wrote something down, it wasn't just in my head anymore. It was right there in front of me. Visible, touchable, real. Sometimes I'd show my teacher. She'd smile and say, "You're doing great." Other times I shared with friends, and they noticed how much I had improved. I even started writing little letters to characters. "Hi, Tom, I liked how you flew your kite. I wish I could do that too." It made reading feel like a conversation, as if I was stepping inside the story. You don't need to write a whole essay. You don't need perfect grammar. Just one honest line after reading is enough. What did you read? How did it feel? What stood out to you? Do that every day, and your English will grow steadily, line by line, word by word, thought by thought. I still keep my old notebooks. Sometimes I flip through the pages, and they remind me of the journey, from tiny sentences to confident paragraphs, from hesitation to expression. All of that began with one simple habit: writing after reading. So why not start today? After your next story, grab a pen and write one small line. Just one. It might seem small, but it will change everything. Writing brings your reading to life. Let it become part of your voice, part of your journey. Let your story live beyond the page. Discovering English in everyday life. I was out one afternoon, just walking through the market. As I passed by a small shop, a sign above the door caught my eye. It read, "Fresh fruits available." I paused. I read it again. A smile spread across my face. I understood it. This wasn't a sentence from a textbook or a movie. It came straight from the real world, and that made it feel powerful. In that moment, something shifted. I realized English isn't just locked inside books or classrooms. It's everywhere. On shop signs, on food packaging, on menus, and mobile screens. From that day forward, I made a habit of noticing English around me. I began reading everything I could. On cereal boxes, "Open here." On bottles, "Store in a cool place." On posters pinned to walls. Even tiny texts on my phone meant something now. I wasn't studying to pass an exam. I was reading to understand the world I lived in. One time, I stepped into a cafe. The menu was in English. In the past, I might have panicked and asked someone else to read it for me, but this time, I took it slow. Line by line, chicken sandwich, French fries, cold coffee. It all made sense. I placed my order in English, and when the waiter smiled and said, "Good English," it felt like I'd crossed a new bridge. A small step, but a giant feeling in my heart. From that point on, I started to feel like English wasn't just something I was learning. It had become part of me. Something I could live with. Something I could use. Reading real-life English helped me see things differently. Even scrolling through social media, I began noticing simple phrases, short quotes, friendly comments. I started following pages that shared English tips, word of the day, even short stories. One day I saw a quote, "You are stronger than you think." I read it a second time. Then I wrote it down. That single sentence gave me strength. Watching YouTube, I switched on English subtitles. I read along as I listened. When I came across a word I didn't know, I paused, tried to figure it out. It turned every video into a learning moment. Even chatting with friends changed. Simple texts like, "How are you?" or "Let's meet later" felt like practice. At first, I replied slowly, checking every word. But soon, it felt natural. One day, an email arrived from school. It was written in English. And guess what? I understood every word without help. That pride, that confidence, it came from noticing the little things every single day. So here's what I tell everyone now. Don't wait for lessons. Read what's around you. Signs, labels, menus, messages. Look for English in the corners of your day, on the streets, in your kitchen, on your phone, because English is everywhere. And every time you understand a piece of it, you grow, you learn, you win. Real English is not just in books, it's in your life. And the more you read it, the more it becomes a part of you. Reading everyday English isn't just a skill, it's a lifestyle. And every small sentence you understand makes you just a little bit stronger.